Good evening. Welcome to Investigator News. And I'm your host, Ellie. And boy, Karen, what do you think? We're in the middle of the week and the news is crazy today. I've looked at a lot of it, and boy, I've got to replace my curling iron. The doggy chewed it up, and so we're working on it tonight. And boy, it's it's rough. It's really rough. So and not only that, but Karen, what do you think of this weather? They're saying it's almost pandemic, and I'm looking at it, and I see we are cooler than normal here, and they're saying this heat wave's going to move in. Well, I remember back in April of I'm going to say 1996 when we moved out here. It was 80 degrees, 100% humidity, and thunderstorms and tornadoes. When we pulled into town in Fort Smith, we were looking for a motel because Fort Smith had been hit with a tornado. And it was 80, 90 degrees. And I was like, wow, why is it so cold? I'm cold in the mornings. Uh, is that what you guys are finding out? It's a little bit cooler than what it should be. And then they say, here's comes this big heat wave. I'm like, good. I'm cold. Heat me up. Heat me up. But I don't want the uh how many women are going through menopause that have these sweats. Thank God I'm not going through that, but man, it's too warm already in the 80s and 90s, and they have this heat wave moving in, and they say it's pandemic. And I'm like, no, it's about a month late. I always remember being hot because now get this, when we would go toad suck, it was hot. It was in the 90s. This year, toad suck was in the 70s and maybe 80s. It got up to 86, but I decided to go see Guardian of the Galaxy instead of toad suck this year. But where is the heat? Where is the heat? Well, look at this. Now we got lows over Canada, Washington, and I'm gonna have to ask William, is it cold there? Yeah, is it cold? Northern California, I'm gonna have to call a few friends up around Shasta and say, why is it so cold? And this is what the climate change guys said. If they had this, they would be saying, oh, we're going into a cold spell and climate change, we're going to freeze. And then, of course, when the weather moves forward and we're looking at hot temperatures, they're saying, yeah, global climate, it's hot, hot, hot. Um, and then, I did yesterday, I believe, Karen, about the satellite they put into space that's going to be able to track the hurricanes better. I think it's a wonderful idea. And so we have a new lady this morning with our weather. Um, hot, yeah. Uh, what is it? You have a ton of thunderstorms, but you, Linda, they seem to go around me. I, I, I don't know why. And I keep telling the gentleman that moved here, he came, he was like, where's all the tornadoes? And I said, no, we don't want tornadoes. And it's no matter where I live, it goes around me. Now, Karen can attest to it. I'll call her and say, oh my goodness, here it goes. Or my sister Beth, we're going to go in lockdown, and then it fizzles out or goes around us. The closest one we've had is, as far as tornadoes, has been a few blocks away. But we got the hail, it damaged our roof, but a few blocks away, it took tiles off the roof. And then I looked, and we had tiles lost too off our roof. That's all it did. But it seems to, I call Arkansas the storm killer. And so, no matter, it seems, is it weird that all of the storms are going through us? And I've been watching really close because Dutch Sense showed a beam that went from um, I'm going to say kind of Dallas, and it had a little arrow that went up into Illinois. And that would be Texas, Oklahoma, and Illinois and Arkansas, and then Tennessee and Kentucky. Isn't that where we've been seeing these storms? Wow. All right. So I'm going to get on with this, and we're going to do this weather, and we're going to get on with the show.
Well, to say that it's going to be hot in the Northwest is an understatement. Nice trough in place right now, but that's going to be replaced by a ridge as we go into the weekend. Hot temperatures are coming. In fact, we could see record temperatures Saturday and especially going into Sunday, Mother's Day. So take a look at your forecast. Start you off on your Friday. No records here. You'd have to get up to 103 in Reading to get a record for Friday, but still definitely seeing warming temperatures. Now by Saturday, that 92 for Portland, that could be a record tie there. 1973, we saw 92 degrees. Temperatures will be in the 80s and 90s for the region. Then we get into your Mother's Day, Portland. We're forecasting 95 degrees. Your record is 91 from 2014. And in Seattle, 88 degrees. Your record from 2018. You're going to be mighty close as temperatures are in the 80s, stretching all the way from Montana to the coast.
Wow, 95 in Eugene. You seeing that? Wow. And they said, you got to almost admit, oh, so um, what is causing the heat up? And scientists have now drilling into the ice cores, and they're drilling into Shasta and quite a few different countries. And what they say is when you have 95 or more percent of your volcanoes active, it's going to heat up the waters. Why don't they just let the scientists do their jobs? Why not take the word of a scientist like they did 8 years ago and say, this is a possibility, and then let the rebuttal come in and say, no, this isn't true. This is going to be the generation of data and facts. We got the whole fact thing going now. What I think is now we're going to require prove it, prove it. And I see that with our new generations, what I'm talking 18 to about 30, they're saying, prove it. Wow. Yeah, maybe have they woke up? Wow, woke up. All right. I'm going to go on to the next with the earthquakes. And the latest earthquakes, guess what? We had um, I was going to say, wow, that was only a five. We had a 7.6. And you're like, where was it? Was it California? Was it Alaska? No, 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 no. It was Tonga. How much sense does that make? What is happening? Um, and so Tonga had a 7.6. Then they had a 5.1. And then if we move over to keep the big ones, Solomon Islands 5.0. Then we got, let's see, Guam and Mirazo Village, a 5.0. Here's that 5.0 again. A 5.2 in Japan in Katsura. 5.0. 5.0, 5.0, 5.0. Why is USGS doing this? Wasn't it the force yesterday? So 5.0 in Japan, uh, Nam Azu. Then we go up and there's tinier ones up in Alaska, which make no sense. A 2.5. We had 2.8. We had uh, a Chase, Alaska 2.5, and then farther up into Koyukuk, uh, Alaska, a 2.8. And then you're saying, okay, what's going on the San Andreas Fault? Well, we had a 4.9 in Mexico on the border, and it was on the San Andreas Fault. And then we look upward and we look at Glen Avon, California, 2.8. And then we go over, remember we had the one in the Atlantic yesterday. Then we had one in Arizona, Cameron, Arizona, 3.2. Nothing in South America. It went quiet. Um, and so, I don't even think Dutch, since this point, can even explain any of this. He tries to. He says solar flares. Um, he mentions the oceans are warming up. He's mentioning the mid uh, fault line that runs through the center of the country and over. So what I did is I went to Yellowstone. I said, "What's going on?" And they are still just as active as they were 3, 4 months ago. Real close to 100 earthquakes a day. And then of course there's nothing in Europe, and of course, and then I look at Kulu, Turkey, and I was like, that's just normal stuff. Is it normal for a aftershocks in different cities around the main fracture to keep going and going and going and going? I know when I was in the 7.0 in Eureka, it just went down, 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 and it quit. We never seen it come back as a 5.0, a 4.0. That never happened. And that was normal back then, considered normal. All right, so I want to take a look at China. Bo, Bo Wangan, they had a 4.4. We go down and we had Indonesia with 4.9. Um, Metro, Indonesia, 4.3. And of course, then we move back into uh, Gora, Gorontalo, Indonesia, 4.5. And then when we meet up with what I did before, is a 4.4 in the Philippines. Um, and everybody says, well, maybe something will happen on the fault line uh, on the central California. We can't even be guaranteed of that. There's so much to learn from these earthquakes. Uh, Kansas night sky lit up. Do you watch the meteors, folks? Kansas night lit up by small swarm of meteors, and this wasn't just Kansas; it was other states. And what happened was um, a small swarm of meteors was captured on camera, and that's a kind of cool idea. But then the National Weather Service captured the videos with an eastern facing camera in Goodland, a small town in northwestern Kansas. So this is where it landed, and the woman that lived it there was at work, so she wasn't there. But the whole thing is, folks, that um, um, there was a streak across the sky. And so this lady it comes home and she finds a meteor on her living room floor. It's black, it's shiny. And so she called NASA. And yes, it was a meteor that went through her second story roof and basically landed on the floor out in the middle. And it's beautiful. It's a big, huge black rock. And it could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Is she going to sell it? We don't know. We don't know. Um, um, as we look at climate change, uh, everybody says, we're conserving water and it's a good thing. Well, did you know out in California that they have water police? And if you're watering your yard and it happens to start running into the gutter and you don't notice it, I mean, let's say it's 30 minutes, they'll come and they'll ticket you. I might have to do a Monday show on this. And Las Vegas weather cops. Um, and they don't, um, they're not regular cops. They're like meter readers. What I knew is meter readers when I was out in California, where you got the little meter lady that goes through and if you didn't put your quarter in, she's gonna give you a ticket for it. Now this is the type of force the water cops they say in California. So what they do is they drive around and they wait. Boy, I ought to do a Monday show on this because this is horrible. They sit and they wait, and once it starts draining from your grass to the sidewalk to the gutter, um, then they go up to your door and they hit you up with this fine. And so they don't want this no more. Um, it's about to find a dis- basically to find a way to solve this as a 50% increase in population. Uh, and I could say a whole bunch to that with the population coming into our country, but you're all going to have to come back because boy, when I set up the show for the next hour, William's just spot on. Wow, I might have to give him, send him cookies or something. All right, so um, the albino alligator. Now, I do so many stories on alligators, but how many times have we heard of an albino alligator? What if they're being protected? What if they're being breeded in captivity? Only because we need to save the alligator population. So I do want you guys to see this. Um, and it is a fantastic video that talks about a sanctuary or refuge for albino alligators. So here we go.
We have two white alligators here at Audubon Zoo, and just like the other alligators here, they are American alligators, but they're leucistic. Leucism is a genetic mutation that can occur in animals. It is actually a loss of pigmentation in the skin, but not a complete loss of pigmentation like you find with albinism. They also have blue eyes, unlike an albino's red eyes, because they still have melanin that's able to come through the iris. We have Two Spot, one of our original white alligators that was born in 1987, and we have Victor, who only came to us back in 2019, but has been in Louisiana since he was born. Our giant gator that can be found next to our river otter exhibit is over there by himself because he's so much larger than other gators and could injure them. His name is 711 because when he came to us in 1999, he came in at 11 feet 7 inches. And for a fun flip flop of the words, we changed it to 711.
7-Eleven. Oh, yeah. How many of you remember going to 7-Eleven and getting a Slurpee? Yeah, 7-Eleven was great. So you can see there are albino alligators that are very protective. And when I called them up and I said, "Give me a little info on this. What's going on down there?" And they said, and I said, "Only on the albinos." And they said that as far as they know, they're the only albino alligator refuge in the country, and they want to not only save them but breed them to show that it's a unique kind of alligator that can live for a very long time. I think it's great. I think it's great what they're doing. And I'm always big on ecology and save these animals and save our species. Sometimes it's not worth it, but to me, this guy was worth it. Um, Now, California man's Tesla catches fire while driving on the highway. It burst into flames. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit. When I was, oh boy, it had to have been um, right real close to 99, 2000. I went out to California, and me and my sister and my mom were driving on the freeway, and it looked like kind of like a Tesla car. It was a weird looking car that made a sharp right turn and went off the freeway. And later on, we found out that the gentleman had lost control of his car and made a sharp right hand turn. Okay, you're going to make a sharp right hand turn on the freeway. Well, I've started to think that maybe this was a prototype because now California man's Tesla catches fire while driving on the freeway. And only because he fully charged his battery, it got too hot. He left it on too long, got heated up. He put it in his car and he's driving down the highway, and all of a sudden, his car catches fire. And of course, it's one of the hardest fires to put out is a electric car with this battery. So they want to blame Tesla for this. And but I'm is it Tesla's fault? Everybody says, well, I've all I did was charged it and went for a ride. Whose fault is this? Even a lot of insurance companies, folks, if you got one of them batteries, they won't cover you because they know what's going to happen. So many cars have caught on fire, and then we got this Tesla. And what do you do when you see you're driving down the road and the car in front of you catches fire? What do? You hope for the best. You say a lot of prayers, and hopefully, if it stops, you can uh, give assistance. So, um, um, uh, so after the somebody helped this gentleman out of the car, and he pulled over, and getting out of the car, immediately spotted smoke billowing from the underneath of his vehicles. He quickly tried to get a fire extinguisher, but it was kind of too late. Um, the electrical fires caused by EV batteries are the best left to burn down until the battery can be they say assessed. Assessed for what? It's gone. And get this, it's 20,000 to replace these things. And I'm not going to spend too much time on it. What about how about Nikola Tesla? Boy, here we go with Tesla. It's a Tesla day. Writings about machines with their own mind. And this was Tesla. And they said he wrote about this very early on. Um, the purpose to show that forever impossible, it may now seem the automatic, maybe uh, contrived, which will have its own mind. Don't we have cars that drive themselves? I think he was onto something here. Is there, folks? You'll find out even when I do my news. I always want to know why. Uh, uh, the whole who, what, where, how, uh, all of it. If I see something, I say, why did it happen? Why did that happen? Or who did it? Or where was this? And so we're looking at the whole, um, uh, what they are back in um, when Nikola Tesla did these writings about machines. He said they'll have their own mind and they could possibly even take over. I think, what was it, War of the Worlds, where everybody freaked out? Don't fall for it. Now we can put holograms in the sky that look like Jesus Christ. 6G. We can do it. Don't fall for it. If you see stuff in the sky, is Linda in here, or Linda G? Now she's seen these white orbs, and she called me up. She said, "I see it. I'm looking at them." And when I looked at it, and I went back and looked, and I said, something's not right. This is either, boy, I glitched. um, uh, so either this is experimental aircraft or the unknown, the unknown. Um, and so, when we look at this whole meteor thing, boy, it was a good sized rock. Take a look at this. I mean, that's a good sized rock, folks. Um, let's see if I can find a better picture of it. Oh boy, here we go. A big picture. Um, and can you imagine how much this is worth? That's how I look at it because I hunt meteors. Um, and you can do it with um, your gold finder, or you can find silver, gold, but you can find these big, huge meteors, and they're worth more than gold, I think, at this point. And so go out and find them. But to have one crash through your home, um, I know that I think that's kind of freaky. And she came home to a hole in her roof, and lo and behold, a meteor in her living room. Uh, Now, I know you guys. I always, you hear me coughing, and how rain can cause your allergies to become worse. And there was a big article at the Weather Channel on this, and it basically said, you'll have the regular dust, and you'll get it on your ceiling fans, but when it rains, it's different. It becomes toxic or toxins, and they see a lot of people with molds or damp conditions are going to have the worst of the allergies. And I'm like, yeah, count me in on that one. Um, because, you know, if they say if you suffer from seasonal allergies, you might think that rainy days will provide a relief. They said, no, 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 that's not true. Not true. It intensifies if you're allergic to molds, like I am. So I thought I'd throw that in there. Now, boy, this was weird. A scary alligator surprises workmen. Now, you know what they said? They seen these glowing little eyes, and so they thought raccoon or maybe something. And they got closer and closer and closer. And I tell you what, I was like, oh, no, 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 don't go no further. These guys went all the way up till they were eyeball to eyeball with this alligator. And of course, it turned tails and it ran. Uh, uh, so now, and this was um, they're in roadways and potholes, they say. And this one here, um, it says Lockwood Boulevards in the city of uh, Ovidio. Um, I wish it would just say the state and the city. But that's what they're seeing in California, where the La Brara tar pits are coming up into the streets out of the gutters. Um, and so, they may not show it, but let's see if I can get away with this. Okay. You got to see this alligator because you wouldn't think anything. See how small that is? And all they seen was these glowing little eyes. So you see it backing up. It ended up backing up and turning around. But how many alligators are going to do that? Most of the time, they'll charge you. So this was alligators in the sewer system in Louisiana. So if you live in Louisiana, and you got a clog, it's best to call the landlord or call in a company that clears your lines because we don't need to run into these. And the more we expand and the more they cut us, um, we're going to start seeing a lot more of these critters in our cities. Wow, scary, scary. The dog wants in. She's having a fit. I'm in here. So we are down to the funny pages. Bored beyond belief. How many times have we just bored and looking for something to do? I don't know about these ideas because I read through them and I said, nah, that's for a college student to do. I'm kind of old to um, put miniature marshmallows up my nose and then blow them out and see how many you can do at one time. Yeah. Hey, college students, don't eat the cinnamon and the Tide Pods. Put marshmallows up your nose and then blow them out. See how many you could do. I oh boy, folks, I read that and I went, I'm not that bored. Yeah, okay. Use your MasterCard to pay your Visa and vice versa. I can't see me doing that. Okay, when someone says have a nice day, tell them you have other plans. Oh, I could do that and then look real serious with a blank face. I think they would run. Fill out your tax form using Roman numerals. A tattoo out to lunch on your forehead. How about we just write it in marker? I was looking at my daughter and granddaughter, and I said, "Is that a tattoo you got there?" And she said, "Oh no, I just draw on myself." I'm like, "Well, good, because then it can wash off." She said, "Well, it stays there for about a week." Um, you remember the little, why does the Cracker Jacks put tattoos in their boxes now? Doesn't that encourage kids under the age of 13 to get a tattoo when they're 18 or as soon as they can? All right. Um, Go shopping, buy everything, um, swear in it, and return it the next day. Oh, sweat in it. I'm sorry, it's not swear. Sweat. Um, how icky is that? That's why when you buy stuff at the stores, wash it. How do you know who tried it on? That's my whole thing. I'm thinking lice, scabies, uh, all kinds of skin diseases. If if I'm trying it on and then they take it, and I was like, when I worked at Target, I said, "Where do they take it to?" And they said, "Oh, they put it back on the rack." And I went, "Ew." I mean, isn't that like gum? How about we chew it up, flatten it out, rewrap it, and sell it? Yeah, everybody be going, ew. Yeah. All right. So, um, braid the hair in each nostril. Yeah. I was, I know I've told you guys this before, but if there's a fad where you pluck out all your nose hairs and you keep doing it until they're really thick, and then you let them grow. And not only that, they do that out their nose and under their armpits. And this is a new lady thing. I guess I'm old fashioned. Why not just look good? Why you want to grow hair in your nostrils? Boy, you'd have big old boogers. Isn't that right? Isn't that right, Karen? Karen's being quiet. She knows it's one of them days I'm going to get her. All right. Write a short story using alphabet soup. Boy, that'd be fun because what happens if they put just W's and Q's in there? I've looked at the letters they put in there. I think we're being ripped off. All right. Make up a language and ask people for directions using it. All right. So, what about Los Alamos secured? All this UFO talk and military stuff and World War III. Well, what? It's maybe top attempts to tighten security in Los Alamos. And this is the labs. What does it include? Hard drives now equipped with low jack tracking systems. How about immediate suspend if you break it? You bought it, you break it. I think they ought to do that in all kinds of different stores. Um, A cafeteria Happy Meals no longer include free disc. All communications with secured areas must now be done in Klingon. Added benefit, uh, the scientists are thrilled. Really? Well, how come, when it comes to Space Force, we keep thinking Star Trek and Deep Space Nine and some of these other shows? I, yeah, in some ways, maybe they are true, but I don't, I think it's just a lot of science fiction. And so, why are we believing this stuff? Well, how about the cafeteria Happy Meals no longer include a free zip code and your own disc? A security guards limited to what's up, a walkie-talkie conversation between the hour. So this is what kind of they're saying is you're in an airport and you're going to get on a plane and here's TSA hitting it up. What's up? Yeah, for all the different stations to see if there's something exciting happening. Finally, allow the chief of security, Barney Five, to load his gun. Everybody says it is Arkansas doing that with Sarah Huckabee, and I'm like, we all are armed here, concealed carry, and whether we can put it on our hip or we can put it in our pocket. It's just unsafe. Lock your doors. But you know what? I think is it this? I don't think it's this Sunday. It might be Mother's Day as we get closer. I'll give you some tips for Mom's Day. If you don't quite have the money, you do something else. Do something special for it. So, uh, you like my hair looks horrible. It's just, uh, I just have a thing that I want to wear it like I did in the 70s. Yeah. And to me, it's like, no, all right. Mary, you can like my hair. So, all right, folks, that is it for today. And, we're going Wednesday into Thursday. We're getting so close to the end of the week and so much news going on. So, come on back in about, I'm going to say 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and watch the news show. There's so much that I did yesterday and what came out today. So I'm going to kind of give you a little update. And then, boy, William's got a lot. William's ready. So with that, folks, we will see you either in 20 minutes or come on back. Y'all come back tomorrow and watch the weather and lifestyle news. Have a great Wednesday. Go see a movie. Go see Guardians of the Galaxy.